Hi, I'm Cash, and welcome back to Cash Talks Football, where I break down all the goals scored in the Premier League. Using my vast experience of coaching and doing loads of things in football, I give you insight into the game that people don't really do, because they don't really have the education level in football. And I don't mean like, I've done my coaching badges education. I mean actually knowing what they're talking about. And I'll give you an example. Liverpool seem to have this problem with their right back in this game of Brighton here. And I was listening to a couple of fan channels, and they just don't have a clue. They're going, someone needs to go out there and help the young laddie. Well, that isn't the problem. I want to explain the problem to you. There's a couple of things I want to explain to you as well, because it's the exact same problem that Liverpool here had in the Man United game. Here it's Kwanzaa and Endo. Last time I think it was Gomez and Kwanzaa. But the problem with Liverpool's right back, I'm going to tell you first and then see if I can find a clip that it shows you exactly what I'm talking about. So if Brighton were having a player over here on the sideline, right, and then Liverpool's right back was going over here to mark him instead of actually staying tucked in. So what that allows is all the space in behind the little wee lad. Anything into this little player here, if he pokes the ball past this guy, he's in behind him all the time. Now, what are the pros and cons about you standing up here on the sideline with him as a defender? Right, pros. If you win the ball, you're straight in on a counter-attack every single time. So the young lad backs himself because he's been quite good doing that lately. So if he goes out here, though, and the pass goes in behind him, he's waiting for his other centre-back to come and close the space down, which was happening, but it looks messy and it looks dangerous as well. And if this guy's got pace, which he did out here, he can also get there before the centre-back, which causes another problem. So that's what happens. If he's out here on the touchline with this player, it's easy for this player to beat him. If he's back, in shape, not going forward, holding back here, it's harder. That's all it is. And now, remember the gamble. He's going forward. He's got two things that's in his favour. One, he's making this guy come and defend with him, and hopefully he can pull him back as he goes forward and starts the ball. And two, he can win the ball higher up the field, which makes it even easier for counter-attacking. But on the negative side, it puts a massive gap in behind him. And the fact that you listen to these people on TV and all these pundits and all these clowns, they don't know anything about football. Genuinely, they do not know a damn thing. And they can't just point that out in 10 seconds. It's just baffling to me. But let's get on to this first goal here from Brighton. And I want to show you this right here. These two players coming together, both going for the ball, challenging. And it's a slightly different situation than the Man United one. But I'm going to bring up the Man United game and show you that this gap right here appears, and it's almost identical. Let me just jump over and find that for you. Here we go. The exact same thing's happening over here. We've got two players. Bump. There's the little space in behind. Almost identical. It's funny how football repeats itself, and the same things seem to happen over and over and over in games, one after another. Two players going for one ball, played in behind, gets a goal. Slightly different on this one. Let's have a look at it. Here we are for that Brighton goal. Now, the difference is here, instead of playing the ball in behind to somebody have a shot, the ball's played in front into the space here. We can say the space is opened up here, but it's an almost identical problem. The only difference was last week, I think it might have been 2 weeks ago, I don't know when the FA Cup game was played. Liverpool had a player here trying to get back inside. They didn't have it in this situation because it was obviously on the transition. And we've got a would-be runner here that helps open up the space just a little bit more. As we play this on just a little bit, we can see there's no one really close to being able to challenge. This guy here, he's on the wrong side. He doesn't really want to be sticking his foot in or doing anything, because he clearly is going to give away a free kick if he tries to do anything. Now, he does end up getting a touch on the ball here, but it's kind of hard to watch when you see it. It's a little bit more of a sort of a bad touch, and I think his momentum just takes the ball forward. But here's the most overrated centre-back in the Premier League, Van Dijk. Now, his job is to clear the ball. Can he clear the ball? What's going to happen? No, he kind of half-asses it. Do you see his body shape? He's leaning back. All of his weight and power is going away from the ball and not through the ball. And there's a little bouncy ricochet, and it falls to none other than Danny Welbeck, who smashes it into the net box. And that is a quality goal right there from Danny Welbeck. But Liverpool's shape is all over the place, and when you're on transition and you're getting caught on that counter, the main thing you need to be able to do is identify, fix those little gaps and problems so they don't arise, especially if they happen the week before. And I say the week before, whenever the FA Cup game was. And if the same things happening in the same sort of areas, there's a problem. People aren't identifying what they're doing wrong. They've got two players going for the ball instead of one player. Happens again, and a goal happens again. Let's get on to the next goal. Good goal, Danny Welbeck. Right, I don't like the way Brighton is set up for this corner. Have a look at how many what I call dead players are back here. All right? No one really to mark. And I'm a big, huge component of, look, this is well done by Liverpool, putting 2 players on the D. I'm a firm believer, if you've got to mark the D. If you don't, bad things happen, right? You've got to have a defensive player covering the D. You've got to have one about here. And that means if there is, he can challenge for this header. Because this is Mo Salah. He's not one of the best headers of the ball. It's not bad, but he's not like known for it. It's not like you know, a good solid central defender or one of those little prolific strikers that score with their heads. So you can easily challenge him. Look, we've got another guy here who's standing watching the ball, and we could have just, look, we've got 2 players, split them, have a player up here. You have to, because when this goes, he can challenge. Look how long that this ball's up in the air. You could have got closer and challenged with this ball. They're trying to play the offside traps here. There's not really much to sort of talk about, because this is one of those goals that's just kind of happened, and this is the guy that ends up scoring, and he does have a Brighton player with him that could have tracked the run. And when this ball gets knocked back in, all this Brighton player's really got to do is track with him and hopefully try to put in a challenge, and he doesn't. As we move this forward, Dosh, there goes. It ends up coming off a Brighton player. Now, here's the interesting part. People are going, oh, it can't be offside if it comes off a Brighton player. Yeah, it can. Yeah, it can. The rule is, and people don't know the rule is again, did he intentionally pass the ball? So if he's intending to pass the ball and you intercept it, you're not offside. If it touches you and it goes offside, you're still offside. He's not offside because when Salah plays it, he's onside. What it basically counts is the ricochet is null and void. Okay, that's what it really means. So if your players pass the ball and you're onside and it hits one of the other team on the way through, it only counts from the moment your players passed it, not their players touched it, which is different from the intent rule of them when they're intending to pass the ball back. Again, low IQ idiots on TV don't know anything about football and still can't recite basic football laws. You know, honestly, I don't think they can read. I mean, that's probably half of it. As we go in, Diaz gets his little tap in. Bosch, it's still a little tight finish. And to be fair, the keeper probably could have got there. It looks like he stops because he thinks he's offside. Look, when he's come here. The keeper sort of stops. If he puts his hands forward there, he might have had a good chance of trying to stop that, or at least put Diaz off enough. But there we go. Let's get on to the next goal. Before this goal happens, you can already see what I'm going to be yelling and screaming about. You've got your lines, okay? There's your line, duck, and there's your line, duck. You can't have 3 players in between your lines unmarked. Got 2 players here, Brighton players not doing anything. This guy's slowing down. This ball's fired in here to Lexi McAllister, and his touch is absolutely world class. I think he's Lexi McAllister. The more I watch that player, he's never as good as like a Modric, but that's the sort of player he reminds me of. Just ticks over, wins the ball, passes it around, doesn't do anything great or special, but it's like the heartbeat of the team, if you understand what I'm meaning by that. Quality player. I never thought he was that good, but the more I've watched him over the last sort of year, I think he's better and better. But when this ball's fired in here, look at how much space he's got to receive the ball here. Absolutely aches. Now, after he does receive the ball, this is very interesting. The Brighton are very good at swarming the ball and getting pressure on the ball. Very good at it, in fact. And they all do. The problem is they forget about one important person, which is Mo Salah. This defender gets a little bit too deep. I don't know who this player is here for Liverpool, but he's obviously pushed these 2 back. Done a good job trying to get the extra space inside the 18-yard box. If he hasn't done this, Salah would have ended up being offside, because the way that these guys play on Brighton, they would have pushed up very, very quickly without that little run coming in there. And the pick of this pass out here is quality. Dosh into the feet, and you can see that the pocket is space Mo Salah's got. And what's happened is, it's the same old thing. They've all run too far one way. Now they've got to run too far back the other way to cover for the ball, and they leave a space in behind. And then Salah gets himself a little finish. I didn't watch much of this game, but every time I did sort of turn it over to have a little look, Mo Salah doesn't look very good. People are all mad at me. No, his touch just seemed off. Is he still injured? Like, am I missing something there? I might have to look at that a little bit, but he just doesn't seem his normal sharp and bright self. The balls are bouncing off him, but he does take a quality little touch there and gets himself a goal. I'll see you next time on Cash Talks Football.